Chad Wolf, the former acting DHS secretary, is with us right now. So, Chad, you've been watching these images as we've been streaming them on Fox News for the last few days of these Haitian migrants, mostly Haitian migrants, just walking across that dam between Ciudad Acuña and Del Rio, Texas. Your thoughts on what we're seeing, particularly given the fact that the Secretary of DHS continues to say the same thing he's been saying for months, and that is, as he deadpans it, the border is closed.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. A couple of thoughts here. The border is obviously not closed. We see record numbers of individuals coming across it every day. You see images of Haitians and others streaming across the river, the border, and the Mexican government not stopping them. What the Biden administration needs to do, they need to engage the Mexican government. They have the ability to stop these individuals. And this is what Remain in Mexico and the Migrant Protection Protocols was all about, making sure that Mexico had skin in the game to stop this illegal immigration that we see today. They're not doing enough. They need to do more at the end of the day. But to have the secretary say that the numbers kind of crept up on them or it was a surprise, and that's simply not true. I mean, you see historic numbers, over 200,000 individuals crossing that border in July, and then again in August in a 30-month period. It didn't sneak up on them. We've seen this. We predicted this. We warned them against it. This was going to happen at the end of the day. And on the Haitian front, John, I would just say most of these Haitians don't live in Haiti. They live in South America and they live in Central America. And there's a reason that they're coming to the border now is because they see these numbers month after month after month. All of these individuals coming into the country and staying in the country. And that's what they're following. It's because of the open border policies that we currently have right now.
It's a pretty interesting statement that they have been living in places like Brazil and Chile and Bolivia for years. They couldn't get status there. They couldn't get a job. And so then they turn their sights on the United States and say, well, if we can't do it here, maybe we can do it there. Bruno Lozano, who is the mayor of Del Rio, Texas, he's a Democrat who's probably at his wit's end because of all this, tweeted over the weekend, quote, the vice president is able to visit the fun events across the country while American communities continue to grapple with failed immigration reform. Where is the visit to Del Rio, Texas? You probably heard Peter Doocy ask the press secretary, isn't the vice president supposed to be taking care of this? To which Jen Psaki said she is looking after this. What do you say to that?
It's outrageous. It's outrageous that she has been put in charge of a national crisis and she is nowhere to be found. And so my question to the press secretary is, if she's engaged, when is the last time that she's talked with the Mexican officials? When is the last time that she has talked with the Central American officials, not the State Department, not officials at the State Department, but when has she personally engaged with individuals down there? Again, she's been to the border one time in El Paso, far away from the crisis that's going on today. They're absent from the fight. And I appreciate the secretary going down there. He should be down there almost around the clock at this point. Border Patrol officers are overwhelmed day in and day out. They need support, they need leadership, and they're simply not receiving any of that from the current administration.
Jen Psaki again today reiterating that a lot of people are being expelled under Title 42. Judge Emmett Sullivan, though, D.C. District Court, has said that he is going to suspend Title 42 expulsions, at least for families, in 2 weeks. Mr. Former Secretary, what's going to happen in 2 weeks when they suspend Title 42 expulsions for these families?
Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, the court order doesn't apply, Title 42 doesn't apply to single adults. They can still remove single adults, but yet it applies to families. So either COVID is an issue for families as it is for everyone and single adults. So it's the health beyond that or the science beyond that ruling just doesn't make any sense to me. But what I'll say is that the Biden administration really hasn't been applying Title 42 to families for quite some time. I think last month they just expelled about 18% of families under Title 42. So it will have an impact, but they have pretty much exempted families from Title 42 from a policy perspective going back several months from now. So they continue to talk about Title 42, but it's usually in the single adult cases more so than the families.
Yeah, a few more than 300 people have been sent back so far from that group that's under the bridge with flights that left yesterday. It's going to take them a long time to clear that backlog. The former acting secretary of DHS, Chad Wolf, great to see you. Thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.